Alright, hi everyone. So for those that didn't watch, I made a reaction video on one of my channels about this YouTuber who had a video about WASD, and now he reacted to mine. So in case you haven't watched that, go watch it, because if you didn't watch that, you will not understand the context of the video that I'm making right now. Second of all, I made a list of points that I'm going to quickly read out from my notepad and just reply this way, because if I were to watch 21 minutes of this video in a row, it would take a very long time, and I think it would be very messy and unorganized, okay? So I made a notepad. I'm just going to be reading off it and talking about the timestamps that I'm talking about. So first of all, I want to say that I definitely want to apologize for being a little bit too negative in the video, and I do agree with that. This is one of the criticisms of this YouTuber at the end of the video, where he said, I definitely agree that I was a little bit too negative, but I also think that a lot of the reasons, why I was negative is also justified, or like, anyway, I'm gonna try to explain like what I mean by that. So first of all, the reason why I'm very negative in this video and the way I'm speaking is because I generally think the content is a bit harmful to the new players, okay? This is not something that I would recommend for a new player to watch. Sadly, the way internet works is that, someone hears something, like people are stupid, I guess I should just put it that way. Someone hears something and, they're just gonna immediately parrot or like think, oh, that is true, let's just believe it. That's just how humans work. This is why I was kind of very frustrated, okay? Second of all, he spoke a lot in the video about how I was viewing it from a pro view. I was actually not trying to view this video as a pro view. The thing I was thinking about when watching the video was, how will a new player, perceive this as they watch this? And, yeah. I use spectacle when talking to get a point across. I've learned that talking nicely does not make people listen. This is just how my life has been over the past many years. This is something I do intentionally. Yeah, I use very aggressive wording to try to get a point across, because I've learned that if you say something very nicely or more positively, people just don't listen. I disagree with his notion that you can't care about these things too much to the point where you're visibly frustrated. This is something he tried to address at the end of the video. It's called being, in my opinion, it's called being passionate about something and trying to strive for greatness, okay? A good example of how that is Michael Jordan. He was constantly bullying his teammates. This is like a known thing in practice, yet he's considered one of the best basketball players in the world, right? But yeah, anyway. I'll just quickly go over what I disagree with. This is going to be pretty short, and yeah, I don't want to make this too long. Anyway, at 120, he talks a bit about mouse weight. He talks a bit about DPI and all this stuff. You have to obviously watch the video to know what point I'm talking about. Around 120 it starts. And basically, I want to address that the reason why I'm calling 800 DPI terrible is not because of 800 the number. It's because of the example he shows in the video. So somewhere here, if I can find it, yeah, here, he's moving the mouse from left to right, and you can see that the mouse, how he's moving the mouse is very slow. And honestly, it completely looks like it's something an FPS player would do, which I think is very, like, I just think it's not optimal in League. In League, you need to have, you need to have a certain speed to be as precise, like to have a fast reaction time to things happening in the game. The DPI that I would recommend, second of all, I'm getting lost with my thoughts. Another thing is, he dismisses the possibility of mouse weight, different mousepads, window settings. So he calls 800 DPI the number, right? But you can't, I know it's really wrong to call 800 DPI the number, because you're dismissing the possibility of your mouse having different weight, of your mouse being fast or slow, of window settings being different. There's a lot of factors here. This is why my recommendation for League players is to go as high DPI or like as fast as you can while still being precise. This is my recommendation. As when you go to a certain point and you reach over a certain point where you're becoming too fast with the way you're moving your mouse, but then you're being too imprecise, this is where I think the trade-off is not worth. So my recommendation is always go as fast as, go as high as possible while also staying at very good precision. Next thing I want to address is, which I already said in the video, but the reason why League of Legends, most players play on high sensitivity is because the hitboxes in the game are very forgiving, okay? League of Legends uses extremely high hitboxes, and this is why fast DPI is possible, one of the main reasons. Second of all, I want to address, he talks about wrist health. I disagree with how he presents the argument of wrist health. In my opinion, people get wrist issues because of not having a proper posture, mouse posture when they're sitting at the table. There are plenty of players that have been playing for many years with high DPI and they have no wrist issues. So I disagree with, oh, you need to use low DPI so you don't get wrist issues. 330. So around these timestamps, he talks about the possibility of pro players not trying something like this. So this is the argument that he was trying to present. Well, I don't think WASD is, not, like, people just haven't thought of trying that. Well, first of all, this is my statement. Pro players' jobs are to optimize everything. Good case of that are Valorant players who all constantly buy a new mouse whenever it hits a market. They all have popularized a keyboard lately called Wooting. Actually, you can look this up. It's a keyboard that I use. It's right now considered the best keyboard in the market. I myself have tried optimizing settings for many years and I've been playing this game for 12 years. My experience of working, talking to pros indicate that they do think about stuff like that. Abdo, known as one of the greatest solo queue players of all time, literally measures with a ruler every time he starts playing the game to have proper distance between monitor and keyboard. Pawn, another LCK pro who was famously competing with Faker, quit pro play because of OCD when it comes to his settings and setup. Okay, pro players do think about optimizing these things. This is literally their job and this is literally what they care about. This is how we are as humans. Next being, 350. He talks about basically, he says there is basically we're trying to say like that my argument is that there's not a single pro player that I know that is good at the game. That uses this. That is true. I did say that in the video. However, that was not my main argument. That was my supporting argument. I myself, if you watch my content, which he probably doesn't, which is totally fair, and I'm not blaming him in any way, I'm very critical of pro players, okay? I am extremely critical of the way they build, which champions they play, the way they play the game. I've been doing that for many years. I call most pro players bad at the game, even though, well, theoretically they're very good at the game, right? So definitely I'm not using the main argument, while pros, there's not a single pro player that uses it that is good at the game. I definitely am not using this as my main argument. I know some pro players who use WASD. Stixay, Power Weevil, Shifter. Although Shifter I think uses arrow keys. I know. I watched their POVs throughout multiple years. I do not think the way they're playing is optimal. However, they're good enough to make it work to a certain extent. Yes. Around 7 minutes in the video, he talks about... Oh, I want to address that at this timestamp, I'm not mad about him, that he's, about how he titled the video or what kind of jokes he's making. I had no problem with that and I never made any comment about that. I am mad about the content of the video, since I do think it's harmful to someone who is starting League of Legends. I do care about people getting the right information. That is why myself, I have on the main channel, I have a video called about settings, where I explain and talk about which settings are optimal and which ones I recommend to use. I do agree with him, or just in general, that default settings in League of Legends are really bad when someone starts playing the game. But that is not what I would recommend to a beginner. What I would recommend to a beginner is locking their camera and then slowly unlocking their camera as they get better and better at the game, slowly making them unused to that. At 9:20, somewhere around this timestamp, okay, I say on the stream, lie meter is on maximum right now. He's very confused about that. I want to clarify that lie meter is like an emote in my chat on 7TV, and it's mostly like a meme. People who watch my stream knew I was making a joke when I was saying lie meter is at maximum on that. I'm obviously not saying that he's lying. I'm mostly saying that like he's wrong. 10:10 is the timestamp, somewhere around here. So the reason why I'm mad at this time is because he makes an assumption with no backup to the claim, and I do think that's harmful. So this right here, for example, you're probably a high DPI player and you have a terrible accuracy. To me, that's just an assumption with no backup to the claim. 12:30. He does not, in my opinion, he did not do a good job at mentioning downsides of using WASD and just calls it a skill issue, when the same can be said about any other camera style. You can't just say skill issue, because I can say the same thing about lock camera and all the other things. 13:45. My argument here is that using mouse to move your camera while aiming skill shots is something that is easily achievable, which you can see in pro views for pro players. He never mentions the downside of occupying 4 important keys in the center of your layout on keyboard when you're playing the game, which is a massive disadvantage. 15, 0, 0. The reason why I think this example right here, when he's showing it in the video, is bad is because he's not moving the camera fast in the clip at all. And if you ask, I think someone with a mouse would be more efficient. 16 to 20. My argument here is that there are fights in League of Legends where you do need to do both. This is where his suggestion fails, because he's talking about like oh, there's a lot of most fights in League, you first have to move the camera and then you fight. I genuinely think there's a lot of fights in League of Legends, and I do this all the time when I play the game myself at challenger level, where you do need to move the camera while you're fighting. You do need to do both. And that's like a quick, that's just like a quick TLDR of me going around over some of the points that he was trying to make the video. I do want to make it like kind of short and not spend here 30 minutes sitting and explaining everything. If he wants to, I'm willing to have a one-on-one conversation where I'll explain everything way more in depthly, or what I think, and you know why I think certain things that he was saying are wrong. I'm totally fine with that. And if he's going to make a response, I'll probably also respond to that. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.